W poprzednim filmie wyruszyliśmy z miejscowości Uwita do Panamy, przekroczyliśmy granicę i wybraliśmy się do miejscowości Boquete, gdzie odwiedziliśmy plantację kawy. Zapraszam do oglądania.
About the culture of coffee in Panama. The culture of coffee is different in every country. People drink coffee on different ways depending on the country they are from. For example, in Vietnam, people drink coffee with sweet condensed milk and egg. It sounds weird, but it tastes good. Cuban people like strong coffee, dark roasted. It tastes burnt, bitter. Serve it in small cups like espresso shots, but they put a half a kilo of sugar in it. Europeans like Italian coffees, espresso, cappuccino, latte, macchiato, ristretto, latte macchiato. Those are Italian coffees. In Arab countries, Israel and Greece, Turkish coffee. Turkish, they grind it to a powder, they cook the grounds. It is not filtered. They serve it in small cups with the grounds. Panamanians drink filtered coffee, but Panamanians put cheese in coffee. My mother loves to do that. Queso blanco, white cheese. Yeah, it's made with cow milk. It is compressed. It is hard. It tastes salty, and it doesn't melt.
You need to bite it when you're drinking coffee?
You have to get hot coffee, very hot coffee, milk and sugar. Put 2 or 3 pieces of cheese in the coffee. Leave it there, it doesn't melt. Drink your coffee first and then get the cheese and eat it. That is the best part. In Colombia, they do the same. When Panamanian people go to Italy and try Italian cafe espresso for the first time, cafe espresso is short, strong, it's dark, it's bitter. If we try it for first time, we say like, oh my God, it's too strong for us. When Italian people come to Panama and try our coffee in Panama is more water. They say, nah, this is dirt water. Those Panamanians don't know how to make coffee. It's, different cultures. Panama is not well known for coffee. Nobody knows Panama grows coffee. In Europe and US, you easily get coffee from Colombia, Costa Rica, Guatemala, Nicaragua, Brazil, Vietnam, Sumatra, Bali, Jamaica, Ethiopia, Uganda, Kenya, El Salvador, Peru, Ecuador, Mexico, Hawaii, India, Tanzania, Burundi, Puerto Rico, Cuba, but you don't see Panama's coffee around. Panama is well known due to the Panama Canal. Panama is well known for the Panama Papers. Panama Papers have something to do with money laundering. Well, Panama is not well known for coffee because Panama is one of the smallest coffee producers in the world. The production of coffee in Panama is very small, it's very limited. 70% of coffee in Panama grows in this province. This is the province of Chiriquí. Most coffee in Panama grows in Boquete. I am from Boquete. I was born here. I grew up here. And I remember 30 years ago, everybody from Boquete town came to pick coffee beans in the harvest time. Everyone in Boquete was a coffee picker. I was a coffee picker. My brothers and sisters were coffee pickers. Coffee was our culture. Coffee was the main economic activity in the area. Coffee was a big thing in Boquete. In the year 1997, Boquete became place number 4 in the world for people to retire, according to a magazine, International Living. International Living is a marketing machine. And they like Boquete. They wrote an article on the magazine about Boquete. It said you could live in Boquete as a king and queen only with $1,000 a month. It was true back then. It was true because I was already working in a coffee plantation. I was making $150 in 1 month. It was my salary. It was most people's salaries around $150 a month. You could buy a big house in Boquete with a big garden on $25,000. For me, it was a dream. For you, it was a gift. Boom! People from Germany, from Holland, from Switzerland, France, Italy, England, lots of Canadians, lots of people from USA came to Boquete to buy lands, houses, properties. The local coffee growers sold their lands to developers. The biggest coffee plantations in Boquete don't exist anymore. And price for the land, today Boquete is expensive. It is very expensive to live here. I know a couple from Germany. They bought a piece of land in Boquete 20 years ago on $50,000, and now they sell it on $2 million. The rest of Panama also grows coffee, Bocas del Toro. They grow coffee in Bocas del Toro, but not on the island. Colón, that's on the Caribbean side. There are coffee plantations around the Canal Zone. but their coffee is not Arabica. That coffee is Robusta. Robusta is a different variety. Robusta grows better on lower lands, hot weather, drier areas. Robusta grows faster than the Arabica. For Robusta, it takes 1.5 years for the first crop. For Arabica, it takes 5 years for the first crop. So Robusta grows faster, is more productive. The Robusta plant grows more beans, and it is easier to grow. That's why in English it's called robust coffee. Robust means strong. Some people think it is called robust because of the taste, but it is called robust because of the plant. The Robusta coffee has no flavor. I have friends in Panama grow Robusta and they don't drink their coffee. No, they only harvest it and they sell it to the processing plants. Robusta goes well in blends, to get more volume. And when the beans are roasted, they have to get burned. They burn it on purpose to make it more bitter. And everything is bitter can be a substitute for coffee. People expect the coffee to taste bitter. Yeah, we grew up with that idea in our mind that good coffee has to be dark, strong, and bitter. But coffee is not bitter at all. Coffee we drink tastes bitter because the beans are purple. In fact, you see, coffee is a fruit. And the coffee fruit tastes sweet. We can eat it like this. It's sweet. The beans are hard, so we don't you look at this. These are the beans. They are the beans, and the beans are sweet. It is because of the sugar. It has sugar, so it's sticky because of the sugar. The beans are hard, so we don't chew it. So coffee is a fruit, and the coffee bean tastes sweet. Coffee we drink tastes bitter because the beans are burnt in the roasting process. They are burnt on purpose. In Europe and USA, during the Second World War, coffee was not available during the war. So people were drinking fake coffee. That fake coffee was made from chicory. They were burning chicory as a coffee substitute. You can still find it in USA, around New Orleans. In Germany, they were roasting malts and hops, the grain for the beer. They used to call it malts café. In Spain, they were roasting sugar together with coffee beans to get more volume. They call it café torrado. In Panama and Latin America, local brands mix their coffee beans with corn. They put corn, beans, lentils, and rice in the blend. I saw it by myself. That coffee you buy in the grocery stores, the ground coffee, is 40% coffee in the bag and 60% corn and beans. You don't get to see it because they mix it all together, they burn it, so it's all dark. And then they powder it. They put on the bag mixed of the best grains. But grains of what? Mixed of the best grains. If you want to buy coffee to take back with you, never buy powdered coffee. Buy always the beans. Buy the beans because you see what you're getting. I know, I grew up in the coffee thing. I have seen in powdered coffee, you know what? This. Burn wood. It goes in powdered coffee. Burn wood, coffee branches, coffee leaves, coffee shells, low-grade coffee beans, insects, bitters, bugs. I have pictures I can show. Never buy the powder. Buy the beans.
Jak widzicie, zaczęliśmy już naszą wycieczkę po plantacji kawy. Nasz przewodnik jest super. Zapłaciliśmy $30 od osoby. Zgarnęli nas pod hostelu.
In Panama,
I słuchamy dalej.
It is illegal to sell high quality coffee beans in the country. Good coffee goes for export. That's a government law. In Costa Rica, it is illegal to grow Robusta. They only grow Arabica. It's not allowed to grow Robusta coffee plants. They want to keep a kind of reputation. 100% Arabica beans. Colombia is only Arabica, not Robusta in Colombia. Colombia makes the most famous coffee in the world. Colombia is well known for coffee because I'm indigenous. I am native Panamanian. I come from one of the tribes in Panama. It's called Nobe Bugle. Nobe Bugle is the biggest indigenous tribe in Panama. Panama has 7 tribes. 7 tribes, and they speak their own language. Our mother tongue is not Spanish. They learn Spanish as a second language. And they don't understand each other. For example, in San Blas Islands, the Cuna Indians, en Verá, Darien, close to Colombia, Nobe Bugle are the indigenous you see around, in between Bocas del Toro and Chiriquí, Nobe Bugle. They have their own territory, their own lands. Their lands are the greenest. They have beautiful green mountains. The most beautiful waterfalls I have seen in Panama are in the Indian villages. It looks like the ones in Jurassic Park. Beautiful. Yeah, we love the green. We love nature. Our God was nature. Before the European people came with Christianism, our God was nature. The sun, the moon, the trees, the rain, the earth, and we still feel it that way. We fight for nature. Last year, when in 2023, in October and November, the 7 indigenous tribes in Panama got together. The 7 tribes got together to fight against our government and a Canadian company, because the Canadian company was clearing the Green Mountains to get gold, copper, silver, some other metals. The country didn't get benefits from it. And due to the protest, the Canadian company paid $500 million to the government, and this new government doesn't know where the money is. The money disappeared. $500 million.
Magic.
Yeah, corruption. But you know, indigenous put the most pressure to the government. Lots of Panamanians joined them, and the government had to close to stop the Canadian company. But indigenous put the most pressure to the government. Some of them died during the protest. People came to Panama, tourists. They had to change plans. Yeah, they couldn't do anything in Panama. Yeah, they had to change plans. It took us almost 2 months. Yeah, I read the contract. They were gonna start with 12,000 hectares, 12,000 hectares, up to 800,000 hectares for mining. 60% of the country for mining. I said myself, that's insane. So I went to protest too. But well, most indigenous men and women work in Boquete. They come to pick the coffee beans by hand. They come to harvest the onions, the potatoes. They do the hard work. This is the coffee season. This is the harvest time. So we're harvesting coffee and we are processing coffee up there. You came to take the coffee tour in the perfect time because this is coffee season. That's why if you walk around Boquete, you are going to see lots of indigenous women walking around and little girls in those colorful dresses. Green, red, pink, purple, yeah, different colors. The dress they wear is called nagua. Nagua, they make it themselves at home. If, you don't buy them in stores. They make their own dresses. If you see triangles around their naguas, it represents the mountains. It means mountains. If you see lines around rivers, mountains, rivers. And their language is called nobere. For example, to say, what is your name? They say mocoño. Mocoño. In Spanish is ¿cómo te llamas? To say I am hungry, morore nitie. Morore nitie. In Spanish is tengo hambre. Chickens, cuy. Eggs, cuihuda. Hello, ñatore. Friend, jamorogo. If you say ñatore amorogo, hola amigo. Banana, wichowada. Wichowada. It has nothing to do with Spanish. They come from that tribe too. And many indigenous like me, men, we don't grow mustache. We don't have mustache and we don't have beard either. Ours is like a cactus. One hair here, one hair there. In general, it is called Arabica. But there are subspecies of Arabicas. You know, some hybrid crossings, grafting. In Boquete, they grow Caturra, Catuay, Catimor, Mundo Novo, Villa Sarchi, Pache, Maragogipe, Bourbon, Típica Arábica, Pacamara, Java, Yellow Caturra, Villa Lobos, Liberica, Geisha. Can you repeat? Well, Panama Geisha coffee is the most expensive coffee in the world. Panama Geisha coffee. We could sell our Geisha coffee last year from Geisha from Boquete on $13,500 1 kilo. $13,500 1 kilo. It went to South Korea. Another lot of Geisha went to Japan on $12,000 a kilo. In Australia, in Sydney, Australia, there is a coffee bar. They sell Panama Geisha coffee by a cup. 1 cup on $1,500, 1 cup. And people go and pay for it. In Panama, it's cheaper. In Panama, it's $10 average, 1 cup of Geisha in Panama. Have you tried the Geisha? None of you? Yeah, in Panama, it's $10 average, 1 cup of Geisha. That's the most expensive coffee in the world. The Geisha coffee became famous from Panama in the year 2004. Panama made it famous because Panama was the only one country in the world still had the geisha plants. Nobody wanted to grow geisha because they are bigger plants, they grow less beans, and geisha takes 10 years for the first good crop. About 10 years. So less trees per hectare, less beans per tree, and wait 10 years to harvest the first beans. Nobody wanted to grow geisha. Panama was the only one country in the world that had the plants. So we took our geisha coffee to an international coffee competition in USA. It was called Rainforest Alliance. And we came back to Panama with the gold medal. The judges got in love with the coffee because it smells like flowers, floral, jasmine. It tastes like sweet citrus fruits. When you taste it, you feel notes like orange, mandarins, peach, green apples, and sugary molasses. And geisha is not bitter. It's not bitter. It has a clean, sweet aftertaste. That is the most expensive coffee in the world. The second most expensive coffee in the world is from Sumatra, Indonesia. In Sumatra, they pick the ripe coffee fruit, feed cats with the coffee beans. Cats eat the beans, the whole fruit. The beans don't get digested, so they poop it. No, they're opossums. They're not that cat we have at home. Opossums, marsupials. So they eat the coffee fruit, the whole fruit. The beans don't get digested, so they poop it out. People get the poop. It looks like a granola bar. They roast it. Yeah, they roast it, and 1 kilo of roasted poop coffee, $800. $800. It is called Kopi Luwak. Kopi is coffee, Luwak is cat. That coffee is famous. I tried the poop coffee. I got one from Bali. The one I had, I didn't like it. It had a weird taste. Maybe a poopy aftertaste. Yeah, I didn't like it. But I had it with milk. I got a cat poop chino. That's how they call it, cat poop chino. But I didn't like it. Now they do the same in Thailand with elephants. You know, mass production. And it is called black ivory. Black ivory coffee. People are good on marketing. You know, good marketing sells everything, even shit. Literally. So those are the most expensive coffees in the world. Geisha Panama, which is not poop. Kopi Luwak, the cat poop coffee from Sumatra, and Black Ivory, Thailand. They are the most expensive coffees. The biggest coffee growers in the world: Brazil, Vietnam, Colombia, Indonesia, and Mexico. Brazil, Vietnam, Colombia, Indonesia, and Mexico are the biggest coffee producers. The biggest coffee drinkers per capita: Finland, Sweden, Norway, Iceland, Denmark, Austria, and the Netherlands. One person in Finland drinks average 6 cups of coffee per day.
No, spróbuj. Ja nie wiem.
Owoc kawy. Pan powiedział, że trzeba, jeżeli chcemy spróbować, to... Ale wezmę inny, bo ten jest taki zepsuty. Czekajcie, wezmę drugi. O, ten jest ładny. Pan powiedział, że trzeba wziąć taki mocny czerwony albo mocny żółty. Nie brać zielonego ani nic pomiędzy. No co, próbujemy. Kwaś. Jakiś słodko-kwaśniowy taki. Ale okej. Takie są żółte. On też je jadł przed chwilą. Tam na filmie było pokazane. No, tak wygląda plantacja. Jeszcze powiedział, że plantacja ma 126 lat. On zaczął pracę w niej, kiedy miał 10 lat. Aktualnie ma 45, więc praktycznie całe życie pracował na plantacji kawy. Jeszcze pracował w fabryce, sprzedawał, w tej strumie pracował. Aktualnie jesteśmy właśnie na najstarszej plantacji Boquete, czy w tej miejscowości, w której jesteśmy. Teraz przechodzimy dalej, pan będzie dalej opowiadał.
They grow up to 5 or 6 meters. They are big plants, but we don't let them get that high. Every 6 or 7 years we prune it to keep it short. For example, this one is growing back. You see? This is the oldest part, the trunk, and this is the new one. The new branches grow more beans. Yeah, the new growth, they grow more beans, and we also prune it to keep it short because they grow up to 5 or 6 meters. That is too much for Panamanians. You know, Panamanians are short people. If the best coffee we make comes from the oldest coffee plants. The coffee I like the most, my favorite coffee, is called Típica. Típica is the oldest Arabica coffee variety. The oldest Arabica variety. Típica has sweet aromas. It smells like nuts, sweet chocolate, and is not bitter. Típica is easy to drink because it's not bitter. Típica is the coffee I like the most. Okay, Arabica coffee grows better in some shade, in shade. That's why you see there are big trees in between to provide shade. Some coffee growers in Boquete, they also grow fruit trees together with coffee plants. They grow oranges, bananas, avocado, guava, lemon trees to provide shade. That's a good thing to do. 1 hectare of shade-grown coffee produces more than 27 kilos of oxygen per day. So clean and fresh air because of the trees. In school we learned we have 2 lungs for breathing. I keep saying we have 3 lungs. We have 2 inside, 1 outside. Because when we're breathing, the air comes out from us, goes to the plants. They process it and give it back to us in the oxygen form. So it's one cycle. I went to China in 2017. I stayed more than 1 month in China. I went to 5 provinces. And I remember I couldn't breathe. The smell in the air was not pleasant. No blue sky in China because of the smog. And people were wearing masks. Before pandemic, they were wearing masks. I said myself, in Panama, I live in a paradise because of this. Big trees keep birds in the farm. We love to see birds in the farm. Birds don't eat the coffee fruits. We have never seen birds eating coffee fruits, but birds eat insects. We have seen birds on the coffee plants eating insects. They don't like to eat the coffee fruit. The coffee plant has a deep root, so they hold the soil. When it rains. It prevents erosion. Because they have deep roots. And some of the plants we grow in coffee plantations, they are nitrogen fixing plants. They get nitrogen from the air and put nitrogen back in the soil. It is like a natural fertilizer. All kind of legumes. Legumes are nitrogen fixing plants. Peanuts is good for nitrogen. Coffee is a fruit. Many people have never seen a coffee tree in their life. And sometimes they expect to see the brown coffee beans on the coffee plants, but coffee is a fruit. When the coffee fruits get ripe, they look deep red color or yellow, deep yellow color. The red one from the same plant. They are different plants. The yellow one never going to turn red. It is gonna be yellow. So they go from green to red or from green to yellow, depending on the plant. For example, this one right here is gonna be yellow. And the one right here is gonna be red. So they are different plants. They stay together because they are both catuai. This is called catuai amarillo y catuai rojo. They are both catuai. So the yellow one is sweeter. This one is sweeter than the red one. So you can try both. They all have 2 beans inside. If you got 3 beans from one fruit, buy a lottery ticket because 1 in 1,000 has 3 beans inside. So if you got 3 beans, buy a lottery ticket. Okay. Not all of the coffee fruits get red or yellow at the same time. You see, for example, this one still have green and some turning yellow. So they don't ripe at the same time. We only come to pick the ones that are deep red and deep yellow. The green ones stay on the plant, and in 2 weeks we come back. Every 2 weeks. So the season lasts 6 months. We start picking coffee in November and we stop picking coffee in April. So the harvest goes from November to April. And the new flowers for the next crop, the new flowers grow in March, April, May, and June. Then each coffee fruit was a coffee flower before. 1 fruit, 1 flower. The flower is white. It smells sweet like jasmine. And the flower stays on the plant only 2 days. 2 days on the plant. So if you get to see a coffee flower around on the coffee plant, do a picture of it because it's only 2 days on the plant. First step in the coffee process is hand picking. People come to pick only the ripe ones, not the green ones. It is not allowed for them to strip like this. It's not allowed. 1 by 1, twist and pull, 1 by 1. Second step in the process is pre-sorting by density by using water. They put the coffee fruits, fresh picked, in water. If they float, they're not good. The sinkers are the good ones. When they float, it's because insects ate the beans inside. So the fruit is rotten. It's empty. Insects, larvae, fungus. So they float. We separate the floaters from the water, but we still use it. The floater coffee is dried. It is dried and processed for instant coffee. Instant coffee or café molido, ground coffee. Ground coffee. Do you know Nescafé? Yeah, in Panama we call it no es café. Yeah, no es café. That's how we call it in Panama. The capsules for George Clooney. Those capsule things, that's the worst. Yeah, don't buy that, please. That's trash. But you know, yeah, what else? So picking, floating. After floating, if they put the coffee fruits to dry in the fruit form, in the sunlight, it is called natural process. When the beans stay in the fruit with the skin, it is called natural process, proceso natural. If the beans are peeled like this, peeled and then dried, it is called honey process, like sweet honey process. They call it honey because they remove the skin, but they don't remove the sugar. It is sticky, you see. It's sticky because of the sugar. So they only remove the skin, but not the sugar. It is called honey process. If they peel it, and then wash it, and then dry it, it is called washed process. Washed process. When the beans are peeled, washed, and dried. It is written on your coffee bags. When you get back home, get your coffee bags and read them. It says on the back, Arabica natural, or Arabica honey, or Arabica washed. Now you know what it means. If you buy coffee in Latin America, it says Arabica lavado, washed. There is a new process. It's called anaerobic, proceso anaeróbico. If your coffee bag says anaerobic process, it's because the coffee fruit got fermented. They put the coffee fruits to ferment for 6 days in tanks, and the tanks are closed. No air goes in, but fermentation is still happening. It is called anaerobic, life without oxygen. So they do anaerobic natural, anaerobic honey, and anaerobic washed. Anaerobic natural is when the beans, they put the fruit to ferment and then it dries still in the fruit. Anaerobic honey is when the beans are fermented, peeled, and dried. Anaerobic washed is when the coffee beans are fermented, peeled, washed, and dried. So there are 6 different ways to process coffee. What you and me drink, we all drink washed. Washed is the fastest and the easiest process. That's the one we all drink. And that's the one you're going to see the most in stores, lavado or washed. Natural, honey, anaerobic. That coffee smells sweeter. It smells like raisins. Raisins, not raisin, you know, raisins like dry grapes, prunes, olives, winey, licorice. That coffee is more exotic. It's sweet and fruity. It is more expensive. Natural honey anaerobic is more expensive. That coffee goes to hipsters. Hipsters, you know hipsters? That's on fashion now in Panama. In Casco Viejo, they get together in Casco Viejo, Panama City. Hipsters are the coffee snobs. Do you know snob? Like, you know, snob. The skin, the coffee shell, they put it back in the farm. It's good compost. It's good compost. But the skin from the Geisha beans, that one goes for tea. Because the Geisha coffee fruit tastes sweeter than this one. It's more fruity, it's sweeter. So the skin has sweet flavors. It has a caffeine, and they discovered the coffee fruit has the most antioxidants. It has more antioxidants than grapes. Yeah, they said it's even better than Botox. Better than Botox. And that's why I get the skin. I normally get the red one and I squeeze it. I do this twice a day, like this. Yeah, like this, twice a day. I did this part for 1 year. It was like this before. Like this it was before. Now you see it's a bit fixed. Now I'm fixing these lines here. Be back in 1 year. Back in 1 year, yeah. In 1 year it's gonna be like this. We're going to sell it under an Italian name. You're going to see that. And the bean is the seed. If you keep the beans with you, the ones you tried back there, if you keep the seeds, dry them, dry the seeds and plant it, back at home in your gardens. In 5 weeks, you get to see a baby coffee plant. In 5 weeks. The bean is the seed. So if you want to grow your coffee plants at home, keep the beans with you, dry them, and plant it. One of my friends lives in Germany. He lives in Düsseldorf, and he has 5 coffee plants, 5 beautiful coffee plants in Germany, and they are growing coffee fruits. Yeah, that's a baby coffee plant. The first leaves, if you take the seeds with you, the first leaves don't look like this one. The first leaves are round. They are totally round, 2 leaves. And then they get the proper leaves, like these ones. Yeah. So these ones are called volunteers because they grow by themselves, but we have to kill them. After the harvest, we have to go with machetes and we kill them. Otherwise, they grow too close to each other. So we have no more space for them. So we have to kill them.
To jest Geisha. Proszę bardzo, Marta testuje.
No,
Niedobre?
it's from
Niedobre.
Ethiopia.
Nie?
Jest trochę słodkie, ale
Takie słodko-kwaśne, nie?
Taste it?
nie, nie super
Very
smak.
fruity.
Tak, trochę takie fruity, no.
Fruity?
Yeah, if you keep the beans, you can grow your geisha plant at home.
Okej.
Czyli jak mam zostawić nasionko i wtedy możemy zasadzić sobie
Yeah,
w
that's
domu.
a geisha plant. That one.
Widzicie nazwę tej plantacji, nazywa się Pepe Estate Coffee i produkują tu kawę od 1898 roku.
That's for his capsules. Yeah, this is low grade coffee. So don't do picture of it. but yeah, this is low grade coffee right here. What we do the most is washed. So the beans go through floating. We do floating, peeling, and washing. Floating, peeling, washing. That process is done up there, that part of the factory, with machines. The beans get peeled with machines. The beans get washed with machines. Okay, if you take a coffee tour in another farm, tour guides are trained to use those fancy scientific words to describe the coffee fruit, because each part of the coffee fruit has a kind of scientific name. Exocarpio, endocarpio, mesocarpio, tegumento, things like that. For example, the sugar, the sweet part on the coffee bean is called mucílago. Mucílago is the sugar, the sweet part on the coffee bean. And that's why the red machine is up there. That machine is called desmucilaginadora. But that's a water machine. It's like a centrifuge thing. The beans get cleaned in seconds. So it's a washing machine, but they call it desmucilaginadora. After washing, they put the beans to pre-dry and dry. Sometimes they put the beans to dry here on the concrete, like that one. But the problem is if it rains. If it rains, the beans get wet. Yeah, that's why most coffee beans go to dry on drying beds. They are drying beds. So they spread the beans on drying beds. If it rains, we just go and cover it. They put the plastic on. It takes up to 1.5 months for the beans to get well dry. 1.5 months drying out there. When the beans are dried, they bag it. They put it in bags and they keep it inside in the warehouse 6 months. 6 months in the dry form in there. 6 months. It could be 4.5 months, 5 months, 6 months, 6.5 months in there. That process is called aging. Aging is the process to get older. Coffee gets more body, more flavor, better taste by getting older. Like women, like wine, I was going to say, sorry.
I would say I was well aged.
Yeah. So natural.
Trzymamy nasiona podane różnym
Yeah, we
procesowi.
can get closer. This way.
Ten brązowy to jest naturalny. Ten pomarańczowy to był honey. I ten jasno-żółty to był umyty.
Natural.
O, tak wyglądają nasiona podane
This is
procesowi
dried
naturalnemu.
entire fruit. On the paper it says the date. It has been here
12th of December.
12 December
Yeah.
24.
more than 1 month.
Czyli miesiąc temu były położone.
One month here. Yeah, this is natural dried. This is the entire fruit. It was not peeled. Yeah, you can feel it.
This is most expensive.
This is more expensive. Yeah, this one is the hipster coffee.
Hipster coffee. Najdroższa kawa.
This one is more expensive.
Is it better than washed in your opinion, really?
No, it depends on what you're used to.
Okay.
Yeah. Because if I do a blind tasting with you, I am pretty sure you are going to say, you know, washed is the best. Because that's the one we all drink.
Okay.
Yeah. This one is too exotic. Okay, look at this.
Like peanuts.
This is natural honey washed. You see the difference in color?
Yeah.
Natural is the entire fruit. Honey was peeled but not washed, so it is still keeping the sugar. It looks like caramel. That one, like peanuts with caramel. And washed is peeled and washed. So natural, honey, washed. The three processes. Yeah. That one looks like cereals. Coffee beans can also get dried in machines. Those are dryers. Drying coffee beans in machines is faster. It's much faster. So now they put the beans to dry outside a few days, 5 days, 1 week at most. And then they keep drying the beans in machines. The beans are drying with hot air. So the ovens are back there, the ovens for the heat. Let's see, this way. Okay, this is one of the ovens. See? Hot. And this is the fuel. You see? Pergamino. This is the second coffee shell. The pergament. This is the parchment. The second coffee skin, so they burn it in there. You see? Makes the fire quickly. They don't have to use firewood or gas propane. This is enough. This is inside there. It says material combustible. This is ash from this. The ash, they put it back in the farm because it's good fertilizer for the plants. It goes back to the ground. So nothing goes to waste. No waste. 6 months after aging, they get peeled because the beans are still in the second skin. And then they go to the sorting process. If you see, it says área de clasificación. This machine goes in size and shape. Inside the machine, there are screens like filters. So the machine shakes, the bigger beans take, the small ones fall through. So you see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 sizes. This is basic. No machine do 16 sizes. This is 5 sizes. This machine blows air on the way up. The lighter beans, the broken beans, the coffee shells, the sticks, dry leaves, things are lighter, fly up and come down here. So this is called reject. It goes to powder coffee with the sticks and shells and everything. Powder coffee. Yeah. And says density.
Oczywiście nie pijcie mielonej kawy, bo to jest odpad produkcyjny.
And when the beans go for export, they go in this bag. You see, it says Café de Panama,
Don Pepe.
Don Pepe. Those are the bags they use for exporting the beans. Café de Panama, SHB, strictly hard beans, like that, strictly hard bean. This is Caturra, this is a blend of typical Caturra. 29 Panama, 88 Don Pepe, lot 1, lot 2. Yeah. They put in one bag 60 kilos. But the beans are not roasted. The buyers do the roasting. The beans go like this. Like this. This is ready for roasting. So this is what they put inside. Buyers do the roasting. Even the big coffee producers like Brazil, Colombia, they don't do the roasting. Yeah, they do the process we do, same thing. And the beans are exported in the green form. Yeah, we have a buyer in Europe. It's called Illy Cafe. Illy. ILLY. That's in Italy. In Italy. Yeah, if you go to Italy, you'll see. But
Why it's not exported already roasted?
because this way it's cheaper for the buyers. If you go on Google, price for green coffee bean is like $3 a kilo.
But it doesn't change the flavor. I mean, if they roast it smokes, for example.
Yeah, it depends. Yeah, if they burn it, it's gonna be bitter, more bitter. But the main reason they buy green beans is because it's cheaper. It's $3.50 a kilo, like this. If you roast it in Europe, you can get for roasted coffee $9-10 a half a kilo, so $20 a kilo, and you bought it for $3 a kilo. So that's the main reason. And they also make blends. They mix it with other coffees and they make their own blends. So, but coffee is exported in the green form, not roasted. We do 98% of the process here, and we give it to them just ready to be roasted. And after roasting, it costs like 5 times more. It's more expensive. So we do the whole thing practically. That man on the picture is not Don Pepe. He's Don Tony. Don Tony. Don Pepe was his father. But Don Pepe's father started the farm. Yeah, Don Pepe's father, his name was Enrique Vasquez. Don Pepe's father, Enrique Vasquez. Don Pepe's name was Jose Vasquez. Jose Vasquez, Don Pepe's name. Don Tony's name was Antonio Vasquez. Antonio Vasquez. He died. Don Tony died in 2016. Now his children are the owners. Jose Antonio Vasquez and his brother, Jose Humberto Vasquez. Yeah, they are building their house up there in the farm. But Don Tony started doing the process for Don Pepe. Don Pepe and Don Pepe's father were not doing this. No, they only took care of the farm. They were only growing the coffee plants. And they sold their coffee fruits in the fruit farm to the processing plants in the area. So they were not doing the process.
So when did they build the process?
When?
Yeah.
21 years ago. 21 years ago, this guy built this building. He brought the machines from different countries to start doing the process and to sell Don Pepe coffee under their own brand for 21 years. But Don Tony didn't get to roast coffee. He was only doing this process for export. He died in 2016. His children started doing roasting after pandemic. After pandemic, they built this little house in there to do roasting to sell locally. So now they sell roasted coffee. You are going to see on the back, it says, in loving memory of Don Tony, their father. So 4 generations.
Bardzo, tu macie ceny tych kaw, które tutaj są robione. Geisha $32,5. Tylko nie wiem za ile to jest.
300 gram.
Za 300 gram macie $32 za 300 gram kawy, no. Patrzcie, tu macie wszystkie rodzaje kawy. Co możecie tu kupić i tutaj jak wyglądają. To jest dom Pepe Estate w ten sposób. Tutaj jest Speciality Coffee, typika, sorry. Tu jest bourbon, tu jest jawa, a tu jest ta Geisha, czyli ta najdroższa. Jak to wygląda? Chyba, że ceny jakbyście chcieli się napić, to tragedii nie ma, bo na przykład espresso kosztuje $3,5, więc nawet spoko. Jakieś americano $3, cappuccino $4,5. No i teraz będziemy testować te kawy, zobaczymy jak będą smakować. Powiem wam, że najtańsza to jest za $7, za taką paczkę 300 gram, o coś takiego. A najdroższa to jest ta Geisha, $32 za paczkę 300 gramową. To jest różnica, nie wiem, myślę, że może kupimy jakąś. Po degustacji zdecydujemy, czy kupimy, czy nie, ale tutaj nie ma picia żadnego cappuccino, latte i tak dalej, to jest tylko czarna kawa, będziemy tylko czarną kawę próbować.
Zaczynamy od dry tasting, czyli po prostu wąchamy kawę, mamy ją nazwać i dla nas wszystkie pachną jak kawa.
Nie, ta jest taka ziemnista, ta jest taka bardziej drewnianą, to takim drewnem trochę, no takim... Ta pachnie jak mocna kawa. Tak, to jest taka mocno kawowa tam.
To jest jawa. Czym pachnie jawa?
O kurde,
What you're doing now is called a dry aroma.
owocami
Now
takimi.
let's jump to the next step.
Owocowe.
Next step is wet aroma. Wet aroma. Now we're going to fill it up with hot water.
Ta?
You're going to smell the coffee again. The water is going to cook the grounds.
Kurde, dziwnie.
The smell is going to change.
To najdroższa.
It can make you switch your favorite. Or maybe
Kojarzę
the
ten
one you
zapach,
like
ale
the least. In this round is the one you like the most.
Jak nie kawa, taka
This
takim
time on the second
rośliną
round,
taką bardziej.
you don't
Dla mnie to pachnie jak była sfermentowana, a ta jest słodka, a teraz pan dodaje wody. Nie wolno tego mieszać jeszcze, mam też tylko to powąchać i powiedzieć
Ta mi
jak
pachnie słodko, kurde, jak
to jest
sfermentowane.
sfermentowane. Ta pachnie słodko.
Nie,
No,
ta
pan zaleje teraz i będziemy wąchać znowu.
Nalewamy kawkę i zobaczymy jak zaraz będzie pachnieć.
Mój werdykt to jest słodkie, śmierdzi, mocna kawa, słabsza kawa, drewno.
Teraz będziemy wąchać, ale mieszając, o, coś takiego.
Ta wyskidu pachnie owocami cały czas.
No i teraz mamy umyć łyżeczkę i jeszcze raz zrobić dokładnie to samo z kolejną kawą i tak w kółko.
Ta wali nieśmiertelnie. Tak, przyjarana kawa to jest.
Przejarana kawa.
Ta pachnie jak moja kawa po prostu.
Jak kawa?
Dobra, normalna kawa. No, bez zaskoczeń wali drewnem.
Tą piankę wyjmować z kawy, bo to jest najbardziej niedobra część, tak?
Gorzka.
Gorzka, a. Najbardziej gorzka część. No więc musimy z każdej kawy tą taką piankę usunąć, żeby nie była gorzka. I potem prawdopodobnie będziemy testować.
be careful when slurping, not to get coffee straight down to your throat. Otherwise, you start coughing. But the louder it is, the better it is. Make noise. Do it with the teeth. Yeah, it's easier. Like this.
Bierzemy sobie łyżeczkę kawy, mamy siorbnąć. Trzymać 5 sekund w ustach, potem przełknąć. Mam ocenić jaki jest tekstura, jaki jest pierwszy smak, jaki jest generalnie smak i co czujemy po. I co czujesz?
Tekstura lightowa. Smakuje trochę jak taka wodnista kawa, tak to nazwą. Taka. A po? No taka czarna kawa normalna. Ta jest mocniejsza. Taka wyrazista, taka o, ta jest gorzka.
Java and Geisha are the sweetest. They taste more.
Teraz na to śmierci.
Zajebista, jak herbata.
Geisha tastes lemony, honey,
Herbata z posmakiem kawy.
herbal.
No i teraz najdroższa kawa na świecie.
Najdroższa kawa na świecie, uwaga.
They try
Jeszcze lepsza. Mocniej, taka bardziej mocno herbaciana. Delikatna jest bardzo. Bardzo dobra, ta mi się bardzo smakuje. Pan mówi, że tą gejszę możemy u nich kupić za $26. Czyli taniej niż tutaj było napisane, bo za że bierzemy udział w turze. Jawę za 13 i mówi, że ta na lotnisku kosztuje $85 za paczkę. Zobaczcie tam. Jednak kupiliśmy kawę, słuchajcie, kupiliśmy tą gejszę, tą najdroższą na świecie, bo naprawdę jest bardzo dobra ta kawa. Ja nie jestem kawoszem, ja piję tylko espresso, żeby mieć przysłowiową bombę po kawie. I ta mi naprawdę smakuje, więc kupiliśmy ją i kupiliśmy też taką typical, czyli taką typową kawę tutaj, no właśnie z tej farmy. Smakuje jak normalna kawa, ale była też bardzo dobra i zapłaciliśmy za dwie $34,5 i to są paczki po 300 gram, więc możecie sobie sami powiedzieć, czy drogo, czy nie. Ta kawa w Australii kosztuje $1500 za kubek. Ta kawa w Australii. Więc możemy jechać z tą kawą do Australii i zrobić kupę kasy.
No i to by było na tyle z plantacji kawy. Zachęcam do lajkowania, subskrybowania i zostawienia komentarza do zasięgu. Widzimy się w następnych filmach.